Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's Wisdom Window webinar. I'm here with Brooks Anderson, CEO of Wisdom Window, and we are so excited to have you join us where we're going to talk again about the 8 steps to create your online course, but we're going to throw in a little bit of a twist here because I have been doing some incredible training on marketing that I want to share with you. But the first thing we want to start with is the quote, "Brilliant minds innovate and wealthy people automate and duplicate." Over the past 2 years, Wisdom Window has been helping hundreds of people automate and duplicate their content, and that's what we want to share with you is the 8-step process that people use in order to take what is in their brain and put it into digital content to be able to share it with a greater audience. By the end of this year, 2015, online education is predicted to double, and we want you to take advantage of that massive explosion in online education, and we want to help you create, build, and sell your course. So again, we're going to talk about 8 actionable steps to create your course today, meaning you can take these steps and you can implement them today and start creating your online course. But first, I want you to hear a little bit of the backstory of how Wisdom Window came to be, and so I'm going to turn the time over to Brooks Anderson. Hi, Brooks.
Hey, Heidi. It's good to be here. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm excited with this. There's some great things that we have to share today, and I think some things that people can really learn from and be able to apply in their own businesses and in their own lives. For many years, I've been developing and building businesses. I've done a lot of different silos, if you will. I've been in the medical industry, I've been in the clothing industry, and so forth. But some of the businesses I built have been primarily around internet products and around medical products. And I've been able to build them and in some cases sell them, been pretty successful at it, and I feel like I've kind of got this down in spades. So 5 years ago, we endeavored to launch a new product on the internet. It was designed for teams in the sales and marketing environment to work together, to collaborate, to train and motivate each other. Really a fun tool, and it has a great application. But what I found is it was a close community, and we designed it that way on purpose so that the community of those individuals could get together and work together without the interruptions of outside influence. But it just became more and more obvious to me that we were missing a key ingredient, and that ingredient was that we needed to have the outside people who had expertise in training coming in and making their thoughts, their learnings, and their teachings available to these people. And the more we looked at it, the more we realized we were really missing that big piece. So at that point, we took that other product and we shifted a little bit and created a new product called Wisdom Window. Wisdom Window is really designed for coaches and trainers and mentors, innovators, people with inventions, if you will, for learning, to get together, to reinvent themselves, but more importantly, help other people reinvent themselves, to be able to collaborate in that effort and to do it in a way where it can be monetized and those coaches and trainers and teachers can make money from the things that they're teaching. You mentioned a second ago, Heidi, that in 2015 the online learning is going to explode. Recently there was a study on 104 million employees, and although they were all happy in their employment, they wish they had other things that they could bring to the table so they could make themselves qualified or presentable to their employers for other positions, or maybe be able to apply for other companies and win positions in those companies. They knew they needed to transform themselves, but they didn't really know, according to the study, where they would go to get that information, where they could gain that learning. And that's really the impetus, if you will, of Wisdom Window. We're trying to create a place for these teachers, coaches, and mentors to bring their content for those 104 million people and more to come and learn, to grow from, and to transform themselves into better candidates for those businesses that they want to expand in or that they want to climb the ladders in. What we liken Wisdom Window to is a kind of a place where you can learn how to become better. So you may be thinking, where do I go from here? What Wisdom Window can help you do, and what Heidi and I intend to do in this here in a little bit, is we're going to teach you 8 principles to building an e-course, and from there offer you the opportunity where you can gain other learnings that will help you in your business. But what we'd like to do is put you in a position where you can now say, I have the knowledge, I have the wisdom, I have the resources behind me to now put content on the internet to teach other people and do it in such a way that they like it, it resonates with them, and I can charge them money and they can pay me for it. And now with that, you have that position where you can be making money while you're doing something else. So this is that duplicate and automate that Heidi was talking about. You're wondering, how do I get my message out, and how do I make myself useful to my audience? It's easy as you look at that and consider what you have to do on the internet to become overwhelmed with what has to be done. I need to get a URL. I need to develop a logo. What about my style guide? What are my colors? What's my font? How am I going to put my website up? Can I build it? Does somebody have to build it for me? What will that cost? You can see this just gets more and more daunting. Now you start looking at what about my analytics? How do I collect the information of those people that are visiting my site, and how do I market to them? What about this SEO stuff? Does it really work or doesn't it? How about social media marketing? All these things now become part of what you have to do to be successful on the internet today. It's not just, wow, I've got a great course on teaching people how to tie a bow tie, so I'm going to put that up. It's not that easy. You really do have to become an expert to a certain degree in technology, and you have to be able to disseminate that knowledge in building your website, and then you have to come back and look at it over and over again. So these are things that we can help you with. Let me give you an example of kind of what I'm talking about, and if you don't mind, I'm going to bring it back to let's just talk about clothing. Let's pretend for a moment that you want to be a retailer of clothing. You've gone out and you've found the best manufacturers, the best labels, the best brands, and you're excited, and you've bought a large inventory of this clothing. And now you've got it, you've taken it out of the boxes, and you've got it in your arms, and you're carrying it down the street. Where am I going to sell this from? And you're looking for a store. Finally, you pass a strip mall, and there's a big sign that says space for lease, and you go over and you kind of kick the door open because your hands are full of all your clothing, and you walk in, and there's the leasing agent. And you explain, I would like to lease this space. And the agent says, fine, here's the contract. So you sign it. You walk over and you drop the clothes in the middle of the floor, and now you plop yourself down in a chair and you wait. Days later, weeks later, months later, where are all those customers? Why isn't anybody buying from me? I can't believe this. I have the best clothing in the world. But nobody's buying. In fact, very few people are even coming in the door. That's much like what you have to consider your product that you want to sell, your course on the internet, if you're going to teach people how to do things. You can't just get a space and drop your stuff in the middle of the floor. You need to get up signage. You need to advertise. You need to bring people to your space. You need to give them reason to come to your space. Once they come in, what are they going to find? Are they going to find a pile of clothes, or are you going to get fixtures? Are you going to hang them up? Are you going to get your clothing up? Are you going to get the right kind of lighting so it spotlights the clothing properly, shows off the colors? Are you going to arrange them according to things like suits here, blouses there, skirts over here, trousers down here, purses and shoes, and etc.? You got to do that. And then what about mannequins that you can dress up in your clothing so people can really see what they would look like? These are all things that you have to do in business, and it's no different on the internet. You've got to be able to do the same thing. So we can help you with, where will my site be? How do I bring people to my site? How do I attract them? How do I present my products in the best way so that they want to buy from me? These are things that we learned, and I learned particularly over time, and it's taken me a long time and a lot of money to figure some of these things out, and these are things that we can help people out with, Heidi.
Brooks, you're so right, and I want to give a couple of examples of people that we've worked with over the past year. Cynthia Sumner is a health coach, and she teaches holistic living, particularly eating raw foods and live foods. I've worked with her as my own coach, and she has fantastic raw recipes that I just, you know what? I mean, honestly, I'm salivating right now, I'll tell you. Anyway, Cynthia is one of those people that just she really walks the walk and talks the talk, because when you meet her and you experience her and her energy and how she teaches, she is very holistic, and she's beautiful, she's stunning, and she has great information, and she's been trained for many, many years. So when she was in a position, she had just been helping people one-on-one, not really leveraging her business very much, and so it was basically she was getting burnt out. She has 4 children, and so there was a lot of struggle in being able to maintain her business, and when she knew and she felt that pull, she needed to help more people. And so Wisdom Window worked with her, and we helped her with getting her audio course up and her video course, and then she was able to sell her audio course. She ended up having about 50 sales that first weekend just on her audio course alone, which created incredible revenue with her, considering prior to that she was kind of creaking through one-on-one. And when I worked with her, I was paying her $97 a month, and she was doing like one-on-one phone calls with me and group calls. It was so inexpensive. So really being able to take her content and knowledge and then share it with so many people, where it wasn't draining her, but she was still able to help people, was really beneficial for her and her business. We also have Marianne Johnson, the homeschool coach. We've worked with Marianne. She has Spark Station kits. And these are kits that when, like for example, I homeschool my 2 children, and if my son is really into Greek mythology right now, he's 11 years old. And so Greek mythology, I mean, I can go out and buy books, but there might not be age-appropriate books for Greek mythology, let's face it. And so Marianne Johnson creates kits that when our kids say something like, hey, I'm interested in magnification, she has a free magnification packet up on Wisdom Window right now that you can download when you become a free member of Wisdom Window. And so what she has done is she's taken and she's put together these ideas in these kits that you can use when your kids show interest in that particular area. And I actually signed up for her program so that I get a kit every single month so that I can use it to inspire my kids as well. So really beneficial for her to be able to put her content up on Wisdom Window, and we worked with her on the technology side of that. And then we also have Brian Hazelgren, who's a business coach. He's raised millions, if not billions of dollars for Children's Miracle Network. He was a football player. He has worked for the University of Utah Entrepreneurship Program, and he now is running 2 programs, Go Vets, which helps veterans develop their business skills for the workforce, and then also working with teen entrepreneurs down in Arizona. And so we're working with him because same thing, he has a great deal of content, needs a delivery platform, and really the collaboration, so somebody who might be interested in Marianne's programs might also be interested in Brian's programs because they want to learn how to run a business and they want to homeschool at the same time. I even have my own program up on there, Balancing Business and Homeschool, to help people do both. So it's really, what are you looking for? And you're more likely to find it on the collaborative platforms. So Brooks, talk to us a little bit about the myths about building an online course, because what I experience, what I hear from people is, oh, you have to have all this equipment and a studio and all these different things. So talk to us a little bit about your experience and what we've been able to help people do. Whoops, 1 second. For some reason, I've got you on mute. Oh, there you go. I don't know what just happened.
Sorry about that. Interesting. You bring that up. What are the myths? I hear all the time from people, do I need to buy expensive equipment, cameras and lighting and sound products? Do I have to get the expensive software? I'm not going to lie, it might be nice to have that stuff, but it's just not necessary. In fact, I jokingly tell people all the time what they need is this, their smartphone, and go down to their local convenience store and buy 2 of those big sticks of Bazooka Joe bubble gum. They look like a Tootsie Roll, only they're pink. And put those in their mouth at the same time and chew them up, and then plop them down in the middle of their desk in a great big pile, and turn on their cell phone and their camera and plug that phone into that wad of gum, and it'll hold it just like a tripod. And now they've got a tripod and a very sophisticated camera. And quite honestly, the whole world has changed through selfies and selfie sticks. Don't know if you've seen those.
Yes, I have.
They're amazing. And that's what people are doing things with today. And as a result, we're used to seeing things that way. We're not expecting a multi-million, billion-dollar studio that you might see with NBC, CBS, or ABC, or Fox News. It can just be your cell phone. So you really don't need expensive stuff. You've got it in your hands already. Just utilize it and learn how to use it. You might want to consider getting a little bit of software. It's not very expensive. In some cases, you can get some that's free that can help you, that will help you edit your audio and your video so you make it just a little bit better and deliver it the way you want, cut out some of the things that you don't want, and those sort of things. But the myth is you don't need expensive equipment and software. Another thing is, do I have to build a large email list before I start going? How do I do that? And where am I going to find all these people? It's not necessary. You can just start with you. You can start with people that like you, your friends, your parents, your siblings, your children. Just start with that a little bit and start mailing out things to them. Start building that, because that list can grow and flourish to thousands, if not tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands, honestly. You just have to get started. People will come, they'll follow you. A thing I would liken it to is you know, getting on a playground and you're trying to play a football game or a basketball game. Before you know it, a few people show up, and now you've got a team or two teams. It just grows. It kind of grows through organic processes, and sometimes that's the best way to do it. But again, some of the things that we can help with is how to grow that organically, how to push it a little bit, how to nudge it into a little bit faster success, and we can help with that. The next thing people think is they've got to build their courses. Oh, I've got this wonderful stuff. I teach people all the time, but I've never put it into an e-course. I've never put it into any kind of online training. I don't know, and I really need to refine it, and they just get overwhelmed with their own courses all of a sudden. It's not necessary to have this perfect course ready to go right from the day one. In fact, I would liken it to baking cookies. I know as a kid, I'd sit on the counter next to my mom as she was making cookies, and she'd get the ingredients all mixed up, and before she even put them on a cookie sheet, I was in with a spoon or my fingers grabbing out the cookie dough. We love cookie dough, don't we? I mean, you can go buy ice cream now that's cookie dough ice cream. Just start with the ingredients and start building it and tasting it as you go, and let people sit on the counter and let them taste it, and they'll tell you, I like it, or it needs this, or it needs that. Once you start to bake it, you'll find that, well, I need to add a little more flour because those cookies went a little flat, or I need to add a little of this, or maybe a little more of that, and you'll get it perfected. You know, I look at Mrs. Fields' cookies. It took her a long time to build the right cookies, and where did that business go? It really took off. So I'm going to tell you this. This is a quote. You need to write it on a piece of paper and stick it on your mirror in your bathroom, and that is, done is better than perfect. Just get it done. You can perfect it later. Those e-courses are just like cookies. You know, you just start experimenting and playing with it, and it'll get better as you go. Let me give you an example also, and I'm full of examples today, Heidi. Can you tell?
I can tell. It's your Carnation Instant Breakfast.
Thank you, and I'm on my second can of it already.
Oh, dear.
If we can turn the clock back to about 1995, a company was just launching in a garage. Everybody knows it. That company was Google. They were trying to raise some money. They kind of knew what they wanted to do, but they were out to do, you know, they were out to light the world on fire. And by 97, they were starting to raise some money. Not a lot going on. In fact, you won't find out much about Google before 1997. But by 1999, they had a pretty decent search engine. In fact, I was using it in 1999, and I was overwhelmed at how fast it was, and I was pushing it against Yahoo and Dogpile and I can't remember all the other search engines that I was using at the time. But Google was so much faster than those others, and the relevant information that was coming back to me in according to what I was searching, was so much better than those other were giving me. So I knew Google was onto something good. But if you look at Google today, it's nothing like it was in 1999. We've got Google Earth, we've got YouTube, we've got Google Glass, we've got this, we've got that. Google is everywhere and they own everything. But they had to start somewhere, and they aren't today what they were then. They weren't then what they are today. And people's courses are the same way. They just need to get started, just get going, and they'll become the Google, and they'll develop themselves as they go. So let us help them. They can reach out to us. They can learn from courses that we have and really develop themselves, and they can become the next Google.
Awesome. So on that note, we are going to deep dive into some training here. I'm really excited about this. And if you joined us last week, this is a little bit more intensive. I've added a few components as they've come into my mind because I really want you to get value from this and see just how incredible your course can be, but just how easy it is to set up. So we're going to get started. Hopefully you have a pen and a piece of paper so you can take notes. The very first step to building an e-course is to pick your topic. I know this seems really elementary in kindergarten, but let me tell you, what I have seen from people often is that they will just say, oh, I'm going to do a course on all of this stuff, and they end up doing overkill, and it overwhelms people. So what do you know that you can teach? There are very specific areas that I'm going to recommend, only because this is where people seek out the most learning. So we're talking about mind. Often people are looking to change their mindset and their beliefs about their life. You know, they're struggling in their life, they're having some emotional trauma, and there is a lot that they can learn from you if you are a mindset coach or trainer or you have experience in that area. Business, systems, sales, marketing, technology, financial, well, we'll go into financial in a little bit, but all of the components that make up a business and that allow you to move forward in your business. I was talking to a woman yesterday, and she was saying, well, I really, you know, I need to monetize my business. And I said, have you ever run a business before? And she said, well, no, I just had this idea a few weeks ago. And I said, oh, honey, okay, let's take you on this journey. It's time for you to actually learn how to run a business. It's a vehicle for life's lessons, but it also can be very rewarding, obviously, financially, but understanding those principles is really critical. So if you are a business coach or a trainer, or you have extensive experience in business, this is where you can really serve and show up and create courses that will help other people. Body, we talked about Cynthia Sumner, health, fitness, style, even what you wear, like Brooks talked about with his merchandising, you know, throwing the big pile of clothes in the middle of the floor. Often that's how I feel when I go to a store, is that I'm looking, you know, especially on the sale rack, it's just a big pile. I actually hate shopping on the sales rack for that very reason. I like things to be organized and be able to look at it across the room and say, yes, I'm going to go find my size in that shirt, you know, or in those pants. Financial, investing, paying off debt. There's a lot of information out there and people are confused. And if you have methods that work that help with debt elimination, then that's something that you can step into and create a course around it. And then family, parenting, relationships. People are struggling with how to connect with their children. There are a lot of children that have ADHD or Asperger's or autism. If that's something you have experience in, that's something you can help with. So do brainstorm what your strengths are and what you actually know and what you feel that you have experience in. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and he is helping people with addiction and pornography and helping them to understand that what they do or what happens to them does not define who they are. Super powerful. He has been through that experience, and he wants to teach people how to do that as well. And so we're working with him to get his online course created so that people can have access to that information and learn from him. So do brainstorm, create an outline based on your experiences, and don't think that you have to cover 18 topics. Just like a college course, a college professor, you don't go in and say, okay, I'm going to learn all of psychology, right? You go to Psych 101, and then 201, and then 301, and then 401, and whatever you get into your upper level, graduate level courses. But first, you need that Psych 101 to even see if you're interested in psychology, which it turned out that I wasn't when I took Psych 101, my first college class. So think basic, think that entry level. think of the things that people need to learn when they're first starting off, and just pick one topic to get started. All right, step number 2, break down that topic into 10 to 12 sections and really define what they're going to learn in each section. And this is where you get the opportunity to be clear about your content. And I want to encourage you to think about the gaps in your own learning and then the gaps in theirs. Your students don't know what they don't know, and it's up to you to fill in the gaps. So if you are taking them from one concept to another and there's that interim concept, they're not going to know it's there. In fact, yesterday I messaged a friend and I said, this is what I was meaning to say to her. I was meaning to say, how many people have gotten married because of the Life Vision program? What I said was, how many people have gotten married? And she responded, I think I'm supposed to read your mind here. It's either billions and billions since the beginning of the world or 61. You know, I mean, I obviously, because I knew her, she was able to bridge that gap. But if I had just sent that to somebody who didn't know what I was talking about, what a weird question, right? In our minds, we think that we have given people the entire picture. And so walk through that process, and when you're creating your course, say, okay, in this topic, as I'm breaking this down into my smaller sections, what are those steps? And make sure that as you're walking through it, that you're not skipping steps that would be really valuable to people. So be very clear about the content. That's the do. Do be very clear about the content, and don't assume that your students already know what you know. In fact, you would be surprised at how many people don't know what you don't or know, and they're waiting for you to share it with them. All right, and in fact, I just have one quick story with this because it's my favorite story about my mom. She was making she was asked to make a Jell-O salad for a church function, and her friend called her and said, we'd like you to make a Jell-O salad. And my mom is not necessarily, cooking is not her first joy in life. And so she said, okay, you know, what do I do? And her friend said, well, I'll send you the recipe, but you know, you make the salad and then quarter the bananas. Well, that's all she said was quarter the bananas. So my mom made a Jell-O salad, and it had these long strips of bananas in it, these long quartered bananas, and she brings it, and her friend said, what am I supposed to do with this? And my mom said, this is what you told me to do. And she said, well, no, I didn't. I told you to quarter them and then chop them up. Because in her head on the phone, she was saying, you know, quarter them and then chop them up. She didn't say the words chop them up, but that's what she was thinking as the logical next step. And so she, you know, my mom's friend put my mom's salad in the refrigerator and said, well, we'll just see if we need this or not. And it's become a really funny story. Later, because my mom's expertise is in teaching lessons and writing talks for different things, her friend was struggling with writing a talk, and my mom said, well, it's easy. If I can make a Jell-O salad, then you can write a talk. And her friend said, I'm just not sure that we've established that you can make a Jell-O salad. So there's a funny story for you. The point of that is make sure that you are including all of the steps that your students need in order to really grasp the content. All right, step number 3, define your student. The more detail, the better. Is your student male, female, or both? What age is your student? Are they married or single? Are they a parent? How many kids do they have? What are their hobbies? What is their occupation? Where do they shop? Where do they travel and go on vacation? What is their style? Are they classic? Are they trendy? Are they hippies? Are they an introvert, or are they the life of the party? That makes a difference as well. What keeps them up at night? What are they concerned about, and where is the pain in their life? What are they struggling with the most in their life that you have to teach them? Your course is not going to be for everyone. My course on Wisdom Window right now, the main course that I sell, is Balancing Business and Homeschool. That is a very niche market. It truly is. There aren't, you know, millions and millions and billions of people that are trying to balance business and homeschool, but I've clearly defined my market as somebody who has a business and who is homeschooling at the same time and wants a system to run both. So focus on your ideal student when you are creating your course, and not saying, oh, there are 8 billion, almost 8 billion people in the world and all of them could benefit from this. That's really not true. There is a niche market specifically that needs to hear from you based on your experience. And so focus on that and take some time to define who your ideal student is. So do focus on your ideal student, and don't make your course so generic that your ideal student doesn't even recognize themselves. If I say balancing business and homeschool, that's a very specific title. So somebody would say, oh, I'm balancing business and homeschool. That's a course that I can take. All right, number 4, define your takeaways. How is your training going to transform their lives? Wisdom Window is primarily a transformational learning platform. Our goal is to have content on there that help to transform people's lives. I had a mentor once say, often we think that we're not really the expert. We might have started at point A and now we're at point C. And we're looking at all the people down the road at point N, and we're saying, oh, I'm never going to get down there, but I've got to be to that point in order to start teaching and start mentoring people. That's not true. You can turn around and you can mentor A and B, right? So we always have people that we can mentor, and we always have people who can mentor us. It's the great thing about online learning is that you can always be teaching and you can always be learning. And really, that's where we get the most out of life, is when we have those transformational experiences that changes us for the better. So that is really the focus of Wisdom Window as a platform, is to bring people together who want to transform their lives. So how will your training transform their lives? Do create massive value. And I'm going to go into a little bit at the end of this. I'm going to talk about marketing and the principle of marketing that I think is so critical right now. But do give them legitimate, real training. Last week when I trained on this, I went through these steps and I thought, oh, what can I give more? What will give more value to people that they can implement right now? There's no, honestly, there really is no reason to hold back on your training, because people want to work with you because you've helped them. And so when you really give it your all and you say, this is exactly what helped me and I want to help you, then the right people are going to show up for you. So being very clear on how they're going to transform their lives is important. So do create massive value and don't be afraid to give it your all. All right, now we're going to step number 5. We've covered kind of the background and the mapping of your course, and now we're going to go into some of the implementation and logistics side. As Brooke said, launch your course before you start. They advertise courses at a university before the courses have taken place. They advertise events before the events have taken place. When you put yourself out there and you launch your course before it's created, it does 2 things. One is that it allows you to get immediate feedback from the people taking your course, and 2, it allows you to get testimonials of the people who have experienced you. So one of the pieces of advice that I gave a friend yesterday was, I said, find 5 people who need this information and say, I want you to go through this course with me so that I know what you need to know. That's a great way for you to be able to fill in those gaps for people, because you have those people right there telling you, could you expand on that? That would help me, right? So launching your course before it's created gives you time to adjust your training. If it's an 8-week course, you can course correct, pun intended. You can course correct. So do take that leap, start enrolling people, and go to the people, like Brooke said, the people that you know, and say, hey, I'm creating this course. Will you take it so that I can get help that I need in order to really make it the right content for people? People love to help people. They really do. And they'll love to help you create your course so that you are able to tweak and refine it so that it really is the best course that you're putting out there. And the other piece that I think is really important is that when you do this, it gives you a deadline so that you're under pressure to actually complete the course. So often it seems like we're saying, oh, I'm getting ready to get ready to get ready to get ready to get ready to go do something. And when you say, I'm doing this course and it's over the next 8 weeks, then you have a deadline and you know that you have to get something created by that time, right? So do take the leap, enroll people in your course before you've created it, and don't procrastinate just because you don't have students. If everybody that you know says, no, I'm not going to take your course, it's okay. Set yourself a deadline. Say, this is when the course is going to start, and keep going. And show up for yourself in that instance. Number 6 is creating your course, and I have a bunch of extra notes on this from last week. What are the requirements for building your course? As Brooke said, you can use gum and your smartphone, or you can look at your course, how it can break down into different ways. So one of the things that I'm recommending to people is that they start with video. Video is intimidating for people, but here's why. You don't have to sell your video course, but the great thing about creating a video course first is that you have the video that you can use for marketing purposes, but then you can also take that and rip the audio from it and create an audio course. And then you can have it transcribed into an ebook, and then you have an ebook, and then you can expand on that ebook and create a full published how-to book. So starting with video allows you to get the content out there, and then you can break it down into other formats, which I think is really valuable. If I'm taking a course, in fact, I'll show you, I got a course from a friend the other day, and it has a DVD series, and it has a journal that I can write in, and it has a book. And it all goes together in a packaged course so that I can say, oh, I can use whatever learning style and learning format works for me. Everybody has a little bit of a different way of learning, whether it's video or audio or just reading to retain that knowledge. So when you give them those different options, it shows that you're serious about your content, that you're not just throwing stuff out there, but it also gives them an opportunity to choose, which means they're a little more likely to engage in your course. So hardware, obviously having a computer to be able to adjust and tweak and edit your videos if you need to. The faster the better, the faster the processor the better. I talked to a woman yesterday and she said, well, my computer's from 2007. I said, you might want to update that if this is where you're going to go. If you're going to go into podcasting and doing webinars and things like that, you probably need to speed things up a little bit. So having a computer that has a faster processor, a webcam. We're doing a Google Hangout right now. We're utilizing Google and its free services in order to bring you this information. But that's because we both have webcams on our phone. If we didn't have webcams, then it would be a little bit more difficult for you to see us. So having a webcam, if you are doing online training and using a platform such as Google Hangout or a webinar system, then you would be able to have the camera to use, and then you could screen record that for people and use that as your course. A microphone. Sound is very important. If people are struggling with hearing you, then how are they going to get your content, right? And then if you choose to do a direct-to-camera where you're not using any equipment like Google Hangout or GoToMeeting or something like that, a video camera, lights, and a lavalier, the microphone that you can attach to you, either a wireless mic or a lavalier, is really critical. The lights and the sound are the most important part of creating videos, because that's where it's distracting if the lights and the sound aren't good. So for an example, Lori and I created a full video course, a 12-video course on a workshop that we do for Ideal Life Vision, and we actually hired a videographer, not necessary, but in our case that's what we wanted, hired a videographer with lights and a camera and sound and all of the things that we really needed in order to make it professional. It's scalable. What are you trying to teach, and what equipment do you need? So you can go from a bazooka gum and an iPhone all the way up to hiring a production studio or hiring a videographer. It's your choice and how much you want to put into this course. Software, screen recording software, like I mentioned, there's the webinar platforms and using, if you're just doing an audio course, using an audio software like Audacity or something like that. There's also Camtasia, which helps with video editing on a PC, ScreenFlow, Keynote. These are all tools that you can use to do the different types of courses that you want to do. Okay, so number 7. So we talked about so far, just to recap, pick your topic, break down that topic into 10 to 12 sections, define your student, the more detail the better, define your takeaways, how are your students going to transform their lives, launch your course before you start so that you can get those feedback and testimonials, create your course, audio, video, downloadable workbooks. What is it going to look like? How is that going to be mapped out? Yesterday I sat with my friend and I said to him, okay, walk me through what you are going to teach. And we literally outlined step by step. This is 1, A, B, and C, 2, A, B, and C, so that he would be able to take that content and tweak it according to what he wanted to teach. So be very clear in creating an outline. And if you struggle with writing an outline and you struggle with thinking this is too dry, or I might want to insert some interesting stories, I recommend checking out Bridget Cook Birch's Write Juicy program on Wisdom Window. Teaches you how to create a dry timeline and a juicy timeline for your manuscript or your book or your program, and then combine it for a master timeline that will help you to get your content out. So now we're going to go into the last 2 steps. Number 7 is get feedback, because as I said, we often think that we're being really clear because of what we have in our head. When I was at Disneyland years ago, my sister will, well, she's told her kids this story, so I guess I can tell it. It was after a long day at Disneyland. We were standing in line at Splash Mountain, and right across the little sidewalk was the Country Bear restaurant entrance, and there was a sign that said Country Bear restaurant entrance. And so, you know, we were just leaning up against the rail. We'd kind of stopped talking at that point, and she said to me, she nudged me and she said, hey, you could say that Country Bear restaurant entrance. And I looked at her and I said, yeah, you could. And then she said, so say it. And I said, Country Bear restaurant entrance. And she said, right, only faster. And I said, Country Bear restaurant entrance. She said, but with kind of a country twang. And I said, Country Bear restaurant entrance. And she said, yeah, you could say that. And I'm just looking at her saying, what on earth? And she said, oh my gosh, I just had a whole conversation in my head that you didn't even know about. I was thinking to myself, you could say that sign in so many different ways. You could say it Country Bear restaurant entrance, or you could just say Country Bear restaurant entrance. The point is that she had that conversation just like I did with Anne last night. She had that whole conversation in her head without notifying me, because it was in her head, and I just got to get the residual impact of what she wanted to say. Now, I just went to Disneyland in December, and I will tell you that every time I pass that sign, I start laughing. And I text my sister and I say, well, just past the Country Bear restaurant entrance. So it has become quite a family joke with us. But getting that feedback, I mean, it was good that she told me that she had had that conversation in her head. Otherwise, I would be wondering to this day what on earth she was talking about. So making sure that you say to your students, are you understanding this? Is there any other information that you need that will support you in your learning and support you in this course? Get that feedback. Often we get paralyzed. We don't want to ask because we don't want anything negative. That's okay. It's okay to get the negative, because that allows us to course correct. It allows us to say, oh, duh, I forgot that piece, and obviously that's critical for you to know. So be willing to accept feedback as well, because you're in this learning process too. And knowledge level. I'm in the process of writing a book about balancing business and homeschool, and my writing mentor said to me, kindergarten, because I could go into a whole, graduate course about the business side and about the homeschool side. But if somebody is just starting off, how is that going to serve them? It might just overwhelm them. So drill down to what the basics are for what your students really need. All right, number 8. This is the part I'm excited about, ongoing marketing and networking. I was just watching a training by Brendan Burchard, and what he said was, he said, marketing is training. That's all it is. We think marketing is putting stuff out there in order for people to be aware of who we are. He took it one step deeper, or one level deeper, and he said marketing is training. When you're training people, they are seeing who you are, because they are learning to have a transformational experience from you. So when you are creating your course, putting in an introductory training that allows people to experience you before they even take the course is going to be really critical. Often, like Brooke said, with the pile of clothes, people create a course and then they say, okay, come on in and buy, it's done. Now that your course is created, this is where the fun begins, right? This is where you get to say, hey, look at what I've got here. This is you standing outside the door. If any of you have seen the 100-Foot Journey, the restaurant owner, I can't remember his name, but he would go out in front and he would pull people into his restaurant. Come in, come in, come in and eat. Come try this. Hey, I've got this for you to sample. That's how you need to approach marketing, is to give people training up front. There's no way that you can give too much content away, honestly. I have watched people think that, and I've also watched people who have given so much content that they have built a massive following and tribe because they were willing to show up and give that training and content. People need to know it exists. I guarantee you that there is enough noise on the internet that people will not, they don't need to go out and search for you, because the right people are coming straight to them. If you want to get in front of your audience, then you start putting yourself out there and you start sharing your content and your training from the beginning. All right, so where are you going to host your content? And Brooks is going to go into this in a little bit, but where do you get the maximum exposure? I've been telling all of the people that I work with, look, if I were to give you one recommendation for 2015 in marketing, it is to automate your content, duplicate your content, and get it in as many places as possible. Put it up on Wisdom Window. Put it up on your website. Look for other platforms that are relevant to your topic and what you are trying to teach. Those platforms have an audience and a market that is exponential compared to yours. If I am going to look for online learning, I will probably not be going to individual websites. I will be going to platforms like Wisdom Window to say, where can I learn the most in one place? Where can all of my, it's like going to a university, right? I'm not going to say, oh, I'll go to Yale for this course and BYU for this course, go Cougars, and Stanford for this course, notice I'm saying all Ivy League, and Columbia for this course. I'm not going to travel the United States for these courses. I'm going to go to one place. So if people are going to go to one platform and they're going to say, I'm going to purchase the courses that I'm going to learn this year from this platform, you better be on it, right? If you want your course to be seen and you want your course to be purchased, the collaborative effect makes it more likely than if you're just only hosting it on your website. Now, I'm not saying don't, that's really important for branding, but look for other places that you can collaborate and put your courses as well. Now, this is the struggle that our providers on Wisdom Window have been experiencing, because they want to create automated content. They want to take their knowledge. It's frustrating. They're frustrated with wanting to take their knowledge and put it into an automated format. And that's where we said we can really help with that. And so that's why we're creating this webinar series, and we'll, change it up a little bit from week to week. But please invite people to come and join this, especially people that are struggling with building and marketing their content. We really want to help with that. And we've created an opportunity for you to be mentored by our team so that you can design, create, and host and market your content. So I hope that you have gotten tremendous value out of these 8 steps and that you've taken lots of notes. The replay will be up for the next few days if you want to review. And I'm going to turn things over to Brooks to tell you how you can play with Wisdom Window and get the help that you need with that.
Wow, Heidi, you have given them some amazing information here. I hope people are taking notes. There's some fantastic learning that I was able to glean from you, and I think other people would too. I don't care how long you've been in the business. There's some stuff there that you readdress that would be so useful. People are interested in Wisdom Window, and you brought up a good point, Heidi, and that is why platforms versus just a standalone. I think that's something that is very important. Why do we have shopping malls? Why do we have shopping centers? Why are they on the corners? Why do we have right in the middle of a shopping mall where 2 aisles cross each other? On all 4 corners there in the center of the mall, you'll always see things like jewelry stores. Why are the jewelry stores right in the middle of the mall, and why are they all together? I'm thinking, well, the first thing I'd want to do if I were one of the jewelry stores is get away from my competition. I'd want to be where I could be alone and where my customers could come to me, and I don't have to worry about my customers going to my competition. But really, that thinking is backwards. There's a lot of value in the synergy that's created in a mall. Stephen Covey used to say all the time that the sum of 1 plus 1 is greater than 2. What I mean by that is by having those jewelry stores right there in the middle, when one advertises to their customers come into the mall, and for certain, their customers that they've advertised might end up across the mall at the other store, their competitor store. But guess what's happening? The competitor store is also advertising, and they're bringing people in. All four of those jewelry stores are advertising and bringing people in. Now there's more reason for somebody to go shopping in that mall when they're looking for jewelry. And I'll give this example too, because now all the other stores in that mall benefit from those jewelry stores, and likewise the anchors. There's a reason that Nordstrom is at the end of a mall and not right down in the middle in the center, and that is that you try and get people to go through the mall. When they entered at Dillard's at the other end of the mall, they want to force people, the mall owners, they want to force people to walk through the mall and past those jewelry stores and the tennis shoe stores and the clothing stores and the food court on their way to Nordstrom. And it happens. People go into the mall needing a battery for their watch. They're on their way to the jewelry store where they bought the watch because they know they can get a battery there. On their way to the jewelry store, they pass the tennis shoe store and go, wow, you know, I need a new pair of shoes for my gym exercising. So they stop in and buy a pair of shoes. Get a little further and they think, well, wait a minute, I need to get a t-shirt. So they buy a t-shirt. They finally end up at the jewelry store, they get the battery, and on their way out they're thinking, boy, I'm hungry, and they stop in the food court and they get a sandwich and off they go. When they came to the mall, they were just going to buy one thing, a battery, but when they left, they bought four things: shoes, t-shirt, a battery, and a sandwich. That's the value of these malls. The same thing is true with the internet. I could advertise my own garage sale and build a website and try and sell everything in my garage if I want and hope that people find me and hope that they come and buy from me. Or I could put all of my stuff in my garage up for auction on eBay. I'm going to have a lot higher probability of selling my stuff through eBay than I am trying to build my own website. And I'm not saying you don't build your own website. I'm just saying there's a synergistic reality that happens through a platform where like-minded people are doing business, i.e. the jewelry stores. I'm like you, Heidi. If I'm going to do business on the internet, I'm going to want to have as much exposure as I possibly can, so I might put up my own website. But what does Wisdom Window do for you? It creates that shopping mall effect. You're in there with the Nordstroms, you're in there with the Dillards, you're in there with the jewelry stores. You might just be a little magic store, a magician store selling cards and wands. You're not the big Dillard selling millions and hundreds of millions of dollars worth of clothing. It doesn't matter. You're going to get a benefit in your business by the traffic that passes by as a result of you being in that mall. Wisdom Window creates a similar environment. You can put your content on Wisdom Window, and now people that are coming in to find Brian Hazelbrun or Heidi Taunton or Marianne Johnson walk past your store, and they walk in and go, what's this about? And if you've merchandised it right and priced it right and resonated with your audience right, they're going to buy. And that's going to give you some sales and exposure. On top of that, as those people buy, we give you, through your analytics, through your back end office and dashboard, we give you that contact information. That person now becomes your customer who you can market to. On top of that, we have people all the time that are saying, I don't have my content ready. Okay, that's fine, we'll help you. But in the meantime, why not market to your tribe, to your followers, to your avatars, to your people? Why not advertise to them some of the other people that are on Wisdom Window and bring your followers in? And why would I want to do that? Because we have an affiliate program where as your followers buy something from somebody else, you get a commission for generating that sale. It's a huge way to make money. In fact, there are people right now, as I'm speaking, sitting in their basements in their pajamas and underwear, and they make $1 million a year on eBay just selling things on eBay, and they really don't do anything else. You can do the same thing with Wisdom Window. You can make money by bringing your followers to Wisdom Window. So that's the platform concept. That's why the synergistic opportunity of Wisdom Window is so valuable to you. Now, The other thing it does, if you remember at the beginning of this webinar, Heidi, I was talking about how daunting it is to figure out how to do business on the internet. Where do I put my stuff? What does my website look like? Who do I get to build it? And so forth. By coming to Wisdom Window, we've done most of that for you. We've got the website. We have traffic coming to Wisdom Window. We have ways to market you specifically. We have ways to help people come in and find you on Wisdom Window. If you can upload a video to YouTube, you can upload your content on Wisdom Window. It's as simple as clicking that you want to upload a file, find it on your computer, paste it into your window, and off you go. Now you just have to price it, decide if it's free or if you want to charge and what the price is. We're really helping you out with all the fixtures, the lighting, the mannequins, and everything else. You do have to bring your inventory, but the rest of it is there. We build it all, and people are successful on Wisdom Window, and it might as well be you too. So, Heidi, that's a little bit about Wisdom Window and what we're doing.
Awesome. So, tell us the opportunity that people have right now to join Wisdom Window, that this is actually a new program that we have launched to help people really get started, people who are experts in their industry that are maybe one-on-one coaches, and they want to utilize our tools and our resources and be able to leverage their training so that they can have a bigger impact and take advantage of the growth that's happening in online education in 2015. What are some of the things that they'll get right now, and how can they sign up?
Okay, it's a great question. Heidi, the best thing for them to do is just a quick analysis of their own needs and where they stand. We have a program that we've just launched where we will take people and teach them the 8 to 10 primary principles that they need to be successful in selling and marketing, advertising, and so forth, their content on Wisdom Window. How do I break my material out? How do I analyze it? How do I decide what I want to teach? How do I break it down into my courses? Those are things that people are asking. You've already gone over that. They may be asking, how do I advertise through social media? We're going to help these people in all those capacities through weekly trainings. And in those trainings, we'll break it down one thing at a time so they can really get up to speed quickly. If they'll stay with us for 8 weeks, if they don't know what they're doing, by the end of 8 weeks, they'll have it down in spades. They'll know what they're doing, and they'll be able to replicate a course that they've built with us now into multiple courses. We'll teach them how to market on the internet. We'll teach them how to merchandise their product. We'll teach them how to track their following and how to email out to those people. We'll give them all the tools that they need in terms of how to do this business over the next 8 to 10 weeks. For that, what I'm offering here is pretty incredible. We have spent tens of thousands of dollars. You know, I mean, if you want to do what we have done with Wisdom Window, you can spend millions. I'm not asking you to do that. Just come on and take advantage of the things that we've done. We have spent, probably $25,000, maybe $30,000 just on social media marketing, learning how to do it ourselves. We're going to disseminate a lot of this information to these people who are on with us right now, Heidi, if they come and join. So for a fraction of that price, they're going to learn how to market in social media. We'll teach them how to develop trickle emails through a CRM if they want to, and on and on and on. But these are all things they could spend a lot of money on. Again, thousands of dollars if they want. If they come to us, what we're offering right now is for $497, less than $500. We're going to take them through an 8-week course, maybe 10 weeks, that they can learn all these things on how to sell themselves, sell their content, present it, and be successful in marketing it. They can do it on Wisdom Window. They can do it elsewhere. It doesn't matter. They can take it wherever they want. Now, also what they're going to get, Heidi, is one window or one place where they can put up a course over the next 2 months while they're taking those courses. This is going to be that part of the building their cookies, identifying who they want to market to, what their product will be. They can start doing that with us right now. After, if they want to keep that course, they can. It'll be $47 a month. So a one-time fee of $497. And then if they want to stay with us after that, with one course, it's $47 a month for that course. They can add more courses if they want. Obviously, it'll be another $47 for each course. But here's the promise. If they come on board in a month, if they don't like it, if they're not happy, if they haven't felt that we've given them value and things that they can take away to be successful, we'll give them their money back. It's that simple. So what they need to do is, if they'll go to wisdomwindow.com, and again, that's wisdomwindow.com, they can contact us through support, an email, support@wisdomwindow.com, or they can call the toll-free number, and we'll help get them enrolled so they can take advantage of this opportunity. Here shortly, we're going to have other buttons that they can click on. They don't have to come to us specifically, but we'll have all those in place just in the next day or two, and they can take advantage of this opportunity to learn and to be successful with their own courses on the internet.
Okay, so let me make sure I understand this. They get, for $4.90, they get an 8-week course that teaches them in depth each of these steps so that it walks them through the process, asks the right questions, and helps them build out their course in the next 8 weeks. Plus, they get social media training that will help them to understand how to build a community and build an email drip campaign so that they can communicate with the people that are coming to watch their course or to take their course. And after that, they can host their content. They can host the course that they create on Wisdom Window for only $47 a month. Have I gotten that right?
Yeah, and for the $497, they will get 2 months. So over that 8-week period of time that they're being trained, they'll have a window on Wisdom Window where they can start putting their content on and start marking it even today if they want. So if they already have their courses, know what they're doing, they just want to sharpen their skills, they can get both of those. After the 8 weeks and they've got it trained, they're training down in spades. If they want to continue on with us, it's just $47 a month.
So that is a tremendous value because, as many of you know, to get coaching in this area can be thousands of dollars, because this is creating a product that you will be able to make money on over and over and over again and be able to use for multiple platforms. Huge benefit there. And I also want to throw in that the people who sign up with us also get promoted on our social media page. They get promoted out to our email list, that as you develop your course and it's ready and it's up on Wisdom Window, we also will do webinars with you so that you can introduce your course to our audience. So there is a tremendous value in this as far as being able to promote your content and get your name out there. And truly, when we talk about marketing, I often see people often ask me, well, how do I do a Facebook ad? My recommendation is focus on this first. Focus on live, warm audiences of people who want to learn from you specifically before you go into paid advertising. Look for these opportunities to mentor and to collaborate with other people who are doing the same thing. There is so much power in collaboration. It's been talked about over the last few years, but really, when you jump in and you say, okay, let's all do this together and let's all serve together, what a powerful impact that has on the world, to be able to know that you are in combination with people who also are in integrity in their business and who are trying to make a difference in people's lives. So I would really encourage you, go to www.wisdomwindow.com. Get started now. In fact, I will tell you that we practice what we preach, because we have launched this course and we are going to be creating it with your feedback. The initial people that come on to this 8-week course will be able to ask all the questions that they want so that we can fill in the gaps for you so that you know exactly what steps you need to take to build your course, and it will be very customized for you. So thank you so much for to automate and duplicate their content. It's all you. You want to wrap us up?
Well, thank you, Heidi. And again, thank you to everyone else. We understand that time is extremely valuable. It's a precious commodity, and really we only have so much time once, and we can't go back and recapture or reclaim that time. Hopefully you found your time very worthwhile. I have. What Heidi has taught you is amazing, and already you can start to apply it in developing your e-courses. Very valuable information. If you want to join us on Wisdom Window and get that kind of content, that kind of learning, we're inviting you now. Please come and join us. I've made that offer for a refund. I'm not offering that you come and take all 8 courses and then at the end ask for your refund. That just wouldn't be right, I think. But if you realize after you get started, within the first month, it's not working, it's not resonating with you, let us know and we'll give you your money back. That's what we're offering, plus the opportunity to host your content and come and be a part of the Wisdom Window family. We'll promote you, we'll help you develop your businesses, and help you be successful. That's the bottom line, Heidi, and I think it's an amazing opportunity and worth tens of thousands of dollars, literally, that we're going to give to them for less than $500. How can you go wrong with that?
Absolutely, I agree. So go to wisdomwindow.com, get started today, and join us next week where we are going to talk about this again, and we are also going to be, throwing in a little bit of extra training like we do every week. So we will see you next time, next Wednesday, 9 a.m. Mountain Time, 11 a.m. Eastern. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Bye.